Epstein is big in the news right now. And the Democratic Party just released like 25,000 emails from Epstein, from the Epstein data. And in those emails, there were emails talking about how Epstein specifically was meeting with Satoshi and a lot of the early Bitcoin investors. And so it directly ties Epstein to be an early user and investor of Bitcoin. We have the Homeland Security video of them talking about how Homeland Security interviewed the 4 Satoshis in San Francisco. We know that Epstein was not good at what he did, but I don't think he was a developer. But it's interesting that he was tied to them and he's tied to Tether.
There's probably a lot more to that Tether connection, and I've never felt good about Tether. They're as nefarious as they come.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back. This is the Diginachi Sequence. I'm your host, Will Carr. I've got my awesome friends on the show with me today, Phil Spinoza, aka MC Phil.
What's up, everyone?
And lo and behold, guys, you're never even going to believe it. Our guy, the man, the myth, the legend at this point, is back. XRP Sean.
What's up? Been growing the beard out. It's getting cold up here.
Yeah. He's
How
got
you
his
guys
eyes
doing?
protected still. Doesn't want to have any.
Well, they're protected just because I didn't sleep very well last night, so don't need anybody to be criticizing me.
Yeah. Well, I think even when Sean does sleep good, he's still got the beanie glasses going on.
That's right. They're prescription. They are.
The beard's looking good though, Sean. You're really pulling the mountain man thing.
Yeah. I have to.
You're ready for winter to set in.
Have to. Yeah. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing with that almost somewhat stubble over there, but
yeah, man. It's because just because it looks good.
Nice. There's supplements you can take. I'll tell you after the show.
Man, how's your week been, Phil? What have you been up to?
Interesting week. Actually, I was under the weather all week, and I didn't even get to lift once until this morning, so that was a bit painful. But being under the weather, spent a lot of time on the couch and hit some early Black Friday deals and bought an at-home sauna, which I'm actually stoked on. Yeah. So
what kind of sauna is that? You get in it, or?
Yeah, it's one of those like at-home saunas you kind of construct in your garage or whatever. It can hit 85 degrees, they claim. We'll find out. Infrared heat. Yeah. I'm pretty pumped on it.
Dude, I love my sauna, man. I get in my infrared sauna every morning. Once it starts being winter, like basically when daylight saving time, I start my sauna routine in the morning, and I will sauna every morning until it's no longer cold, until it's spring.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have a sauna, but if I want to, I can put on like 6 layers of clothes and emulate it. But here we are. Good for you
one
guys.
One day, Sean, you'll have a sauna. One day.
Yeah. One day. Real soon. By Christmas, I hope. Right, Will?
One of these days, we might have some expendable income. You mean?
Yeah, real soon.
But for now, we can just group hug and
pat each other on the back.
Yeah.
Go to these conferences, build each other up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The market, man, this week in the market can you guys remember a time when the sentiment has felt this bad?
It's rough right now. I got all my friends who got into it are just like, oh my God, do I sell? You got in at 50 cents, man. It's a long play. We're all here for the long play. We're not here for $5.50. I hope none of us are. And if you got an exit strategy, awesome. But yeah, right now it's just like, it's rough. And you got the talking heads saying, oh, we're entering a bear market now. And it's, we're on the precipice of a life change here. They're about to pass all these laws. They're about to, they're integrating right now.
The government actually reopened. We talked about that last week. I was skeptical, but here we are. The government reopened 43 days.
Dump.
And the market dumps again.
Yeah, every time any good news comes out, it's dump. And it really doesn't take that much money to manipulate the market like that at all. We've seen the multiplier that Zach Rector constantly talks about. It does not take a lot of money to move that. But we're not here to get scared and sell because it's dropped 80 cents or $1 or $1.50 or
This
more.
investment was not for the faint of heart, and anyone who bought into XRP has to understand this is a long hold. If you think it's going to happen tomorrow, this is not the investment for you. There's still a lot of things that have to fall into place for this to reach its full potential, but we're so close to those things materializing finally. I mean, honest to God, we're so close. You have ISO integration going live end of month. ETFs just started to roll out. Canary set the world ablaze with their ETF this past week. Out of 900 ETFs that launched so far this year, the Canary XRP spot ETF was the most successful on the year. That's huge.
And
There's
from a
like,
tiny issue.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it's unbelievable. We still have a lot more ETFs to come. And if you don't think BlackRock is going to launch an XRP spot ETF, you're crazy. They're probably kicking themselves in the rear right now that they didn't get the first piece of action on that, guaranteed. After that, you have the Clarity Act. That is absolutely going to get done this year for sure. And that's what we really need. That's the biggest linchpin here. Once Clarity hits, it's full system go.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. I mean, most of the regulation is already in place. We're waiting for the last couple pieces. I think it's going to be big. When is the 22nd? Is that Friday?
Very soon.
Is November 22nd Friday? Someone check
No
a calendar.
clue.
6 days away.
So it's Friday.
I know that much. Yeah.
So the entire SWIFT system globally has to be moved over to the ISO 20022 compliant standards by Friday. It doesn't mean they're all using the blockchain side of those standards yet, but it means that their messaging is moved over to the point where the switch can flip at any moment.
Right.
So
Yeah,
we are close. And
yeah, it's a monumental checkpoint. You know, it's as big as any oil, gas, you name it. .com era, it's huge, and they're going to have to change over, which they have been. They've been running. You know, I've seen, and again, I'm highly skeptical of this information, but plenty of people have talked about banks running the blockchain, the ledger, XRP ledger, side by side on all their bank accounts, all the transactions. It's just a mirroring of what's going on. So November 22nd, we will see. I bet it dumps for sure.
Yeah, the upgrade's long overdue. I mean, anecdotal story. My brother's trying to buy a car in Florida right now. He sent a wire, and as of yesterday, he was on day 3 waiting for them to confirm the wire transfer on that purchase. And that's not even cross border. That's cross state border. That's how terrible the system is, and people don't even realize it. We're desperately need this upgrade, and they are embracing it. And yeah, that's a real thing.
it's coming quick, guys. Like it is crazy. I mean, I think I asked this question live already, but I personally have never felt this. Like there's nothing that could make my conviction sway at this point. But I personally never felt this negative in the market. Not any of the crashes. Not even when we had the major liquidation event 5 weeks ago. Like
That's crazy.
I didn't even feel that negative then.
That was 5 weeks ago. It felt like yesterday.
Yeah. It's 5 weeks ago. What day was that? I'm gonna look on the chart real quick.
Yeah, honestly, like
October 10th.
yeah.
So yeah, 5 weeks plus.
And as this ramps up and as digital assets become an absolutely real thing when it comes to money movement across the world, I want to take a moment to just talk about all of the scammers and hackers out there that are going to try to take advantage of you. You're going to have more money, hopefully, than anyone in your family, no matter what asset you hold on to. Hopefully it's one on the ISO list, but you know, you're going to get emails. I get emails all the time from Coinbase telling me my account's been compromised. Click this link. You're locked out of your account. You need to change your password. Whatever it is, the easiest thing to do is check your Coinbase. Check your Uphold account. Has anything happened? If not, everything's okay. And I do think the worst thing you can do if you do hold things in cold storage is check that stuff every day. Don't, for the love of God, don't be opening that and opening yourself up to who knows what. But my encouragement to everybody is really just don't believe anybody who calls you saying that they're Coinbase, Hold, any of these exchanges, any of these hard wallets. Don't believe anybody. If you turn your stuff on and all your stuff's there and you still have access to it, all they want is your 24-word passphrase. And if you give that up, it's tough. That's tough. I know Brad Kimes has talked about several people that have lost tens of millions of dollars through Ledger. And I just heard Mickle talking about it, I guess a couple days ago, about a Ledger. They had a leak, a data leak.
Yeah.
It was sometime last year. And the information that they have through that leak would convince almost everybody that they're who they say they are. And all I can say is no matter what, do not ever, in any circumstances, ever give up your 24-word passphrase. Ever. Because they can tell you all the things. Oh, you're locked out. We locked your account. Oh, people are taking money from your stuff. They'll say anything to get you to give that number, those words up. Don't do it.
And that's what we
There's too many people losing millions and millions of dollars. And I think I checked the number. I mean, it's into the hundreds of millions this year. Just people getting scammed out of their assets. Don't do it. Don't trust anybody. And Phil, I'll let you talk a little bit about Uphold and the Vault. I also participate in that, but I probably don't know as much as you about it. But the Uphold, if you could talk about the Uphold Vault, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, the Uphold Vault, it's basically cold storage, but an exchange version of it. It's so similar to a Ledger, but without the vulnerability that Ledger has had in the past, and it's super easy to use as well. You have a phrase to get in and out. I trust it. I trust Uphold a lot. I have a lot of confidence in them, and I feel safe and confident using the Vault personally. I never really felt good about Ledger, and last year when that big data leak was exposed, I felt pretty reassured. I never went with them. I think hard wallets are really risky. I mean, especially if you become really famous, God forbid, there have been kidnappings now we're seeing, and people are torturing you to get your phrase out of you. I mean, it's crazy. Well, Caleb and Brown's probably the safest solution from what I hear right now, but I feel
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, but I do feel very good about the Uphold Vault.
And
Yeah,
the
I
nice
do.
Caleb and Brown is that you can have it set up where nothing will ever happen unless you actually talk to your broker and you know that
Yeah, I've helped a few people get set up with Caleb and Brown, and I know they sold this past year, but at the same time that I think that kind of speaks to how successful they are and what they're doing. I mean, if I developed something like that and was able to walk away with that kind of money, then all right. But they do have, we're not sponsored by Caleb and Brown or anything. I have talked to those guys at length, and my family members, my friends who chose to either purchase or hold their stuff there. It's been a great experience. I do have quite a few assets in Uphold Vault, and it's a cool idea. And we met Simon. That dude's awesome, and I know he's taking a lesser role right now, but at the same time, like, you did the work. You can step down. You can do whatever you want now.
Yeah. I mean, he is already super successful before he even joined Uphold. So
Yeah. The thing I like most about Uphold Vault is when the time comes, I do want to cash out. It's going to be a lot easier to move my funds from the Uphold Vault back on the normal Uphold exchange, as opposed to going from a hard wallet and trying to transfer that onto an exchange, So that's what drew me in.
and it's really not hard if you know what you're doing. The Descent wallet, in my opinion, is kind of the gold standard of cold storage. Requires biometrics. It requires your 24-word seed phrase. But another thing, I know a guy who a year or so ago had someone hack like 25 grand out of a hot wallet on his phone through the Wi-Fi at a coffee shop.
Yep.
And so I just encourage people, wallets like Bitfrost or Exodus, they're a great tool, but what you need to do is if you use them, you write down you save your seed phrases somewhere in a safe or where you want to save them and get it off your phone. Because if it's not on your phone, that's what you don't need to check it every day. Like Sean said earlier, you don't need to check it every day. If you're going to hold it in something like that, there's a very convenient wallets, but log out. Don't have it on your phone where someone can, because unfortunately, even our phones through Bluetooth and Wi-Fi can be hacked. Man, it it really is just disappointing. I know there's been a lot of people. I mean, and people have killed themselves over stuff like this. We wouldn't want to think. I don't know. I love my life too much. I don't want to. Don't test me on this one, God, please. But it obviously is just heartbreaking for people when they lose their life savings. Everybody needs to be careful, and there's steps that you can take to be careful and to make sure your assets are safe. But if you don't feel comfortable doing those things yourself with cold storage or getting the hot wallet off, it's just go with someone like Uphold Vault. Go with someone like Caleb and Brown. There's a really cool wallet too called 4DeFi that can be connected with, like, if you have a broker or like a registered investment advisor that you work with, it can require them to, it requires you and them to both allow anything to come off that wallet. And so that's a really interesting one right now. For example, we haven't dove in too much of this on the show, but, I've talked to both of you guys about how I've minted a significant amount of FXRP on the Flare network in order to put into liquidity pools, which, we can go down the whole liquidity pool rabbit hole as well and explain to people how they can make passive income off that, which is a gold standard. I personally haven't deployed any of my XRP into liquidity pools yet because I'm waiting for the XRP price to go up a little bit. But it's really my exit strategy at this point. Rather than cash out, I'm going to buy passive income for myself long term. And because why would I take $100,000 when I could, make sure that I have basically a salary for myself forever? But through stuff like that 4DeFi wallet, I have to approve it. My registered investment advisors have to approve it. So if anyone were to try to hack that, I can't even move it myself at this point. My registered investment advisors have to sign off on it. So it requires that there's that intermediary, which I think stuff like that for most people, we're all young here. We're tech savvy. Like, we get it. We've been in crypto long enough that it's just like, one of these days we're going to be telling stories like my grandpa tells of walking uphill both ways to school in the snow. And that's kind of like what it's going to be like dealing with the C traces. But these other things are already coming live. And it's just heartbreaking when we see people, especially, and it's usually the older crowd that's getting, but like my friend that had it stolen off his hot wallet, he's as tech savvy into crypto as any of us. He would have known how to save, like, he has his own private server at his house type thing. He's super tech savvy, but because he had that hot wallet live on his phone, someone was able to hack him through the Wi-Fi at the coffee shop. And when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, that brings up a wonderful point, which I've stopped doing for quite some time now, is just not connecting to anybody's Wi-Fi, period. If it's a hotel, if it's the airport, it doesn't matter. I don't connect to it. So my Wi-Fi is off most of the time unless I'm at home. And even then, a VPN is pretty much the only thing you can do to kind of help. And it's still not fail safe. It's just, what can we do? But yeah, turning your Wi-Fi off when you go to public places and don't connect to just random things, because they can literally copy your phone. They can get into any app that you have. And if you decide to go out, just take off your Coinbase app, take off your Uphold app. If that's a risk, then just don't even worry about it.
Yeah. I feel good about it, but my father and I are going to the Turning Point USA event in December and America Fest. We're excited. It's going to be awesome.
Cool.
Can't wait. We got VIP, going to be there in media row. You guys already know, like Sean said, can't say no to a 7-footer. I'm going to be there trying to get interviews with everybody that I can. Like, dream scenario, I see Eric Trump or Donnie Jr. And I want to ask them about World Liberty Financial. I want to ask them about, oh man, a bird just ran into my window.
I heard that.
Ask them when World Liberty will be above 25 cents so I can trade in XRP.
My boy Phil wants to know if he can get his money back. But, I want to talk to him about it. I'm for sure going to ask him about XRP after that's going to be like my last question. I want to make sure I get like 2-3 minutes in talking about their crypto project, what's going on. And then I'm going to drop the the whole XRP thing and see what happens. Because at least at that point, I've gotten the first few minutes. When I go, I'm taking everything, and I already feel safe and secure. Like I've talked to my dad about this. We're removing everything from our phones because way too many people there. We're going to be in VIP. I'm going to be holding the phone up, asking people about stuff. Let's just not even risk it.
Yeah. Well, that'll be awesome. That'll be totally awesome. Just ask them why XRP is never mentioned. And us three know the answer. We know the answer. But you should know, it's, I know Coach JV harps on it quite a bit. First they attack it and then they join it. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And they're attacking it by not saying a damn thing about it.
Well,
They were talking about it. They were talking about it a whole lot. And then the lawsuit came, Gate happened, all that stuff. And all of a sudden it's, we don't talk about that. So I've never been more bullish in the 7 years I've been here because it might be down. Like I haven't checked the prices today. What is it at today?
54 is the current price. I think we went till 217. Let me look real quick. I got the chart up.
But if you know what you hold and you believe in what you hold, these dips mean nothing. They're so irrelevant. It's a walk in the park.
215.
215?
15.
Good buying opportunity.
Ooh.
Scoop some?
I think so. Not financial advice from me or Will or Phil. Yeah.
We're degenerates. Do not listen to us.
So what else has been going on this week in crypto? Anyone want to talk about the ETFs that are starting to make moves?
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. Canary rolling that ETF out, that incredible success on the first day was awesome to see. It was like vindication for us, as XRP holders and everything we've been through. And I'm really excited to see these other ETFs roll out as the month progresses. I think we're going to have 8 more before the month is over.
That sounds right.
Yeah. It's huge.
So that means electronically traded funds. Is that correct?
Yes, but they're spot ETFs specifically.
They have to buy the XRP to back whatever was bought the next day. So
T+1.
Yep, T+1. So if there's inflows into the ETF that day, they have to buy it. And I actually asked Grok this the other day because I was curious. So it's within what time frame? What does T+1 really mean? And it means by the end of the trading day, the next day.
Right.
So it's really more than just 24 hours. It can be that 24 plus the 8-hour window of the trading day. It just means they basically have to buy by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time the following day. And it's the same thing with a sell. If more people are selling the ETF by into the trading day the following day, they have to sell that much of the underlying asset.
And the significance here is potential for supply shock because those purchases supposedly occur OTC, over the counter. So through the same exchanges we utilize, and it can cause, there is potential for supply shock here, and supply shock, of course, will drive price.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a run by Christmas. It sure doesn't feel like it right now. Sean's getting sauna.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a whole lot of things. Not more than I need. Sauna sounds great. Bill, I know you had talked to me a little bit earlier about Michael Saylor dumping how many?
So, rumor had it this week on X, people that were following strategies, Bitcoin wallet addresses, that apparently they dumped as much as 33,000 Bitcoin. But then Saylor tried to come and say that did not happen. He's like, we've bought every day this week. And so it's interesting because then Saylor posted a picture of himself fleeing a burning Titanic ship that was sinking on a life raft. So I don't know. I haven't trusted Saylor from the beginning. I don't know why anyone would trust Saylor after the dot-com bubble, and he crashed strategy from $300 to 33 cents. So I don't know why anyone would trust him. It was a 99+% crash that through the same convertible bond scheme that he's doing right now. Yep. So I don't know why anyone would look at Saylor and think that he's someone to trust. But yeah, it was interesting. It's interesting. People were like calling him out. They're like, these are the wallet addresses and they're moving it and it's liquidated. So,
and Will, to piggyback off that, do you mind sharing what you discovered with those with the island guy email dump and the connection?
Yeah, well, anyone that pays attention to politics knows that Epstein is big in the news right now. And the DNC, the Democratic Party, just released like 25,000 emails from the Epstein data. And in those emails, there were emails talking about how Epstein specifically was meeting with Satoshi and a lot of the early Bitcoin investors. And so it directly ties Epstein to be an early user and investor of Bitcoin. I think there were people trying to draw conclusions that Epstein was even Satoshi. I don't think that's true. We have the Homeland Security video of them talking about how Homeland Security interviewed the 4 Satoshis in San Francisco. We know that Epstein was
Not
good
Satoshi.
at what he did, but I don't think he was a developer. But
Who?
it's interesting that he was tied to them and he's tied to Tether.
Yeah, there's probably a lot more to that Tether connection, and I've never felt good about Tether. They're as nefarious as they come, and honestly, Tether's half the reason Bitcoin is where it is today. I feel like that's a house of cards waiting to crumble.
Who was that investor that talked about if you knew who was behind Bitcoin, you wouldn't be able to sell fast enough?
Dan Pena. Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
an
I,
epic.
I watched that not too long ago, and I was just like, man, be nice to know what he knows, but I think we already know.
Well, I think now we definitely know what he was talking about. It just makes me wonder, how did he know that? And if he did know that, why didn't he just disclose it? Because in the clip, he's saying he can't. I don't understand.
Well, if the people who are supposedly backing Epstein were backing Bitcoin, and if I'm Dan Pena, I'd be a little hesitant to declare that to the world. Those
Right.
people are capable of some crazy, evil things.
Right.
Probably true. I mean, well, that is true, but that it's probably true, the connection you're making there.
Mhm.
That's
And
probably
this is what we're up against. It really is. There's a shadowy entity of lots of people that try to control and manipulate everything about our everyday lives. And these markets, the cryptos, they know no boundaries. They will go anywhere to manipulate it so that they can all get in. Because what is XRP? Oh my gosh, it's $2.15. Oh, it's $3. It's $1.50. It doesn't matter. That's chump change. And all they want to do right now is convince us to get out. They want us to get out because at some point in time, like you said, Phil, there will be a massive shortage of supply. We won't be able to get in. They're trying to drive us out, and I think they're doing a damn good job. Seriously, from
There were even
everybody that
rumors-
I've
There were even rumors circulating today that Eric Trump had been selling all of his cryptocurrency. I saw that on X. When you see stuff like that, and there wasn't any validity. It's not like there were the actual wallet addresses or anything. I just see it and it's like they are doing everything to make people scared and make everyone want to sell before it crashes further.
And if you're an old school investor, let's say you're 70, 80 years old, you're trying to increase your portfolio somehow for your family. You made a 5x, you're out. That's a fantastic return. It's having the discipline to not get out, because we're all relatively young. We got a long life ahead of us. This isn't about, a 5x. Not for me.
For
And
me.
it shouldn't be for anybody else. If that was your goal, great, fantastic. But we're here for the long haul. We know what this asset can do. If you compare it to any of the other assets that are out there, the pros and cons are ridiculous. We're looking at 4 seconds versus 4 hours, 40 minutes. It doesn't matter. The best technology always wins. Period.
Yeah. Not only is XRP the best tech, they also have the best team behind them and the most well-established, well-connected, and that's just as important. I mean, my God, Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderati are having dinner with Trump not too long ago. They have Patrick DeWitt, as a keynote speaker at their conference, countless others. No team is more well-connected and established than the Ripple company and their organization.
I mean, we have Rosie.
Devil's advocate, or go ahead, Sean. I'm going to play devil's advocate first.
We have Rosie Rios.
Yeah.
You know, that is technically the last person to sign a $100 bill that's in circulation right now, and she's with Ripple now? I mean, you don't leave the US Treasury just for nothing. I mean, there's so many people on that board that are from, honestly, just such sophisticated, great, educational, they've got amazing backgrounds, and I still can't call anybody to talk about Bitcoin. Who do you call? All right, well, play your devil's advocate.
Well, for purposes of conversation and fair debate, I'll go play devil's advocate here for a moment. There's plenty of videos. I mean, I guess maybe I'll be reframed. There is a video that has been shared plenty of times of Brad Garlinghouse discussing, and this was from several years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago. He's talking about how the early developers of Bitcoin came to then develop the XRP ledger. So as we discuss things such as Epstein being tied to Bitcoin and Tether, and then there was a lot of evil people involved with that and the early funding of Bitcoin in order to get it to the point where it's at today. Do either of you have any concern that, and I have an answer for this that I'll share after, I hear your guys' take, but do either of you have any concern that XRP is the same thing, that really it is just a global scheme run by nefarious people that do not have our best interests in mind?
I'll let you go first, Phil.
It's a great question, Will. Is it possible? Sure, anything's possible. Am I concerned that that's the situation? No, I don't think so. And honestly, I just look to an individual like Brad Garlinghouse. That guy is first class. I don't think there's anything nefarious about that man whatsoever. And I don't think Brad would back anything nefarious either. I think I've met David Schwartz a couple times. He's a really good dude. He's one of the core developers. That guy has a good heart. I'm very intuitive, sense, nefarious or evil on people. I did not get one sense of that from either Brad or David Schwartz. And I probably would have the same feeling if I encountered any other core developer. I don't think so. I think XRP was created to really help the world.
My concerns. If you look at David Schwartz's background, where he was, the time he was, shortly after Bitcoin was a thing, David Schwartz leaves the NSA.
He left the NSA 1 week exactly prior to the Bitcoin white paper being released.
And whatever, that could mean a lot of things. I personally don't think that everybody tucked into government entities are bad, but this is a guy that took out patents, lots of patents in the East for blockchain technology. Like, that's incredible. So if he developed what I consider the prototype in Bitcoin and then continued on to say, okay, we can make this so much better. And there's plenty of evidence showing that XRP, the ledger, was created to be able to tokenize everything, including Bitcoin. That's the only thing that's going to save Bitcoin, period. It's slow as all get out. You try to make a transaction when the network is busy, good luck. You're going to be waiting 12 to 16 hours for a transaction to go through.
Yeah, you can't pay with it. Not a means of monetary exchange.
So, I mean, these people in high places having dinner with the president and, taking photos in front of a very monumental painting. I mean, the biggest trade deal in written history was connecting the Eastern and Western trade routes. That's the photo that's the painting they took a photo in front of.
With the 2 green candles on either side. Just a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences, and we just know it's coming. So it really is important to know what you hold, whether that's any of these dozen assets that do great things. From my understanding, XRP is going to move all of the businesses and industries' money, and XLM was created. They're more tailored to me going to the grocery store and buying whatever. Retail, that kind of stuff. And Will, you really should talk a little bit about Axelar. Is that right?
Yeah, it's another one.
Hey,
They've got the MXRP. I mean, they're trying to compete with someone like Flare, to be the place where you can basically tokenize your XRP in order to unlock the DeFi. I haven't personally minted any MXRP with them. I love Axelar. I love the project. I'm an investor in Axelar. It's one of my core holdings. But just to touch on kind of what we were just finishing up, my thoughts are that it's 100% possible that there are also nefarious actors connected to the XRP ledger, just as there are the Bitcoin ledger. But from a very pragmatic standpoint, I look at it and say the technology itself is agnostic. And the same argument that I'm making right now can be made for both XRP. The technology itself is agnostic. It depends who's using it. You can use it for enslavement or you can use it for liberation. The key difference between those two projects is that one of them works and one of them doesn't. And so I think it's highly likely. Like if you were to, my personal opinion would differ from yours, Phil, is that I think it's almost very unlikely that XRP doesn't have some nefarious actors tied to it because there are nefarious actors at such high levels of society, the elites, that know about these things and these changes that are happening so much sooner than the average population. And they want to get ahead of it. They want to get their hands on it. They want to get control of it.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think my point was I just feel that the ship is being steered by some really good human beings right now. But yeah, I agree with you, Will.
And that's a solid argument because, you can't make that same argument for Bitcoin. You can't make that same argument. I mean, Sailor's got his fanboys, but that's because as people want to believe something.
If you look at all of the AI pictures he posts of himself, I mean, it's
weird.
it is weird, and the way that he just talks about everything, and knowing what happened 20, 25 years ago with him, it's like, okay, did anybody do research on this guy?
No, none of them have, and they don't want to. They want to stick their head in the sand. And I think that's the difference with a lot of XRP holders is we're willing to criticize. Like I'm not going to stick my head in the sand about anything.
No, neither do
I actually want all the dirt to come, like show it to me, because I want to be able to unemotionally, pragmatically make decisions, especially when it comes to investing for my future, for my daughter's future, for my future wife and kids and my grandkids. I look at this as I'm doing this to go beyond. This is legacy. It's about legacy. This is how can I build something for my family that doesn't even exist yet. But it's a pragmatic approach. We know that we're moving into this age of the economy moving on chain. Everything in the economy, everything of value, all business holdings, all business ownership, all real estate ownership, all ownership of anything will be proven on chain. And I'm going to go on another little side tangent here because we're just having a show today, guys. I think the same arguments can be made about decentral identification. There is so much fear mongering, and as a conservative person, as a Christian who believes in the Bible, has read the book of Revelations multiple times, the mark of the beast, there is so much to be said about digital identification, allowing for the beast system to be implemented. But on the flip side of that, I'll go back to the technology itself is agnostic. Yes, nefarious people can use this technology to try to enslave us through digital identification. But at the same time, through decentralized identification, when we can actually have ownership of our identity, it allows for anyone to anonymously and certifiably organize together in order to do self-governance, in order to formulate any type of project that we can dream and imagine. This decentralized identity allows for mankind to build a system of liberation that frees us from any hierarchy being able to control us. So when I take that back to nefarious people early on in Bitcoin, nefarious people early on in XRP, even if they have that, even if they hold 50%, even if they hold 80% of the supply, can they manipulate the value in fiat? 100%. But the technology, regardless of how much you have, it takes one person holding one tiny sliver of this decentralized tech to be able to start a revolution that liberates and frees everyone. So I look at it completely really in a pragmatic way.
It's a transparent system, and this is where we're heading. This is where people get to see where their tax dollar go. It's about transparency. So when you move anything from wallet to wallet, they see that. There's no way that the three-letter agencies would allow this technology to move forward without them having a back door, without them having access to seeing everything. But that's what blockchain is. It's transparency. So, you had people getting in trouble early on. I mean, how much Bitcoin did the US government confiscate? It is a whole lot. How did they find him? They had a backdoor. They knew exactly what was going on. So we have to play this game in a way that we have to be smart. We have to know what we're up against. Are they going to be upset that 20, 50,000 people get rich? No. If we're talking about millions of people, yeah, there's a problem there. But they're not going to be worried about us getting rich.
But even speaking to that, Sean, say they do make 1 million people very rich. If through that process they destroy the old wealth, there's over 30 million millionaires in the United States of America. So if they make 1 million people rich, but they destroy the wealth of 15 million people, that's a net win for them.
Totally. Absolutely. And they're driving people out of the stock market right now. I mean, we've seen some crazy dumps in the past year. People are getting out. They're doing the same thing with crypto. Oh, we're getting our hopes up. It's $3.10. Let's go. We're on our way to the moon. And it drops down to $1.60. They don't plan for the weeks or the months or the years. They plan for generations.
Yeah.
That's what we're up against. These people have patience like nobody else. I mean, we saw some of the largest land grabs in history, completely man-made, completely made up. I mean, the Depression itself, people were selling land left and right, and these people had thousands of acres, and they had to give up most of it just to survive through the Depression. Guess who bought it? Our government came through and wiped it. They'll do anything to drive us out, and they're probably going to try to start World War III to scare even more people out of crypto. It's crazy, but I'm glad we have the knowledge at least to be able to hang on. I mean, we've seen some crazy stuff. Saw it go up to $2 and pull back to 18 cents. I mean, that kind of stuff's crazy, but if you're wise enough, we're not sitting here for 3 years, 5 years. This is the long play. That's why we're here. We bought at 18 cents. We bought at 50 cents. We bought at $1. Bought at $2.10.
We bought it 3 1/4.
3 1/4.
280 might be the highest I purchased in that.
I don't think I bought anything over 3, but I had to say that for fun.
And it doesn't matter, because when you're making a long-term investment, whatever that price is now, I mean, you hear DAI talk about it. You hear Brad Kimes talk about it. Anything under $1 was an absolute steal. And they're still buying the dips.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you have cash flow, what better to store your money in than digital assets that are going to be on the rise?
now we have seen silver and gold take a pretty significant hike.
Where are they at now? You look. Oh, silver's back to 51.
Gold?
Gold's back to 41. So they had taken I'm just looking at the price chart too. I'll actually pull it up. Man, I love the way the gold chart looks right now. And silver.
I mean, Phil,
Silver looks great too.
you've got diversity in your assets. I mean, it is so important for us to make sure, no matter if silver is going to just double in a 3-year span, or gold's going to quadruple in a 12, 15-year period. It is wise to have assets all over the place.
Yeah, I preach that constantly. I mean, I have a small amount of Bitcoin exposure. I've got a bunch of ISO exposure. I'm in the stock market, I preach diversification to the high heavens. It's critical.
What kind of stocks do you buy, Phil?
Yeah, I actually just cover. I usually just buy mutual funds that blanket the S&P 500. In all honesty,
Basically just an index.
yeah, I'm indexed. My entire 401k is indexed into the S&P. Roths and my IRAs are a little more Nasdaq heavy, just to break it up a bit.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't rolled any of that into like an I Trust Capital.
Well, I've been thinking of it a lot lately.
There are tons of options now. There's a Bitcoin IRA, and those guys were actually kind of on the forefront of doing that, 7, 8 years ago. Because you have all these people with IRAs that have been kind of mounting over decades, and they have to respect now that this is a real asset. And they've been doing that for years, which is really cool. I've been able to talk to several people about their IRAs, and they'll call whoever there and they're like, "Oh, we don't do that." Okay, well, I'm going to switch to these guys who do it. So, at some point, every single one of those entities has to respect what's going on. It's huge. I know several people that changed their IRAs over to Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM, and the money they had to look forward to has quadrupled. And it really is an amazing thing, because you could have somebody invest that into whatever in the stock market, and you kind of have very little control of what that looks like. But I do know that, I've heard Brad Kimes talk about I Trust Capital quite a bit, and I've actually contacted them to chat with them, and I guess it's just as big of a risk as you dealing with a different account manager. Just all right. Well, we've got it diversified here, there, and everywhere. Well, now you can kind of take control of what that is if you switch over to some sort of crypto asset, which honestly, it's the future. They have to change, and they are changing. And it's been years since they've been rolling over and been continuing to start accepting different assets along the way.
Well,
Yeah,
and let's just hope that all these tax deferred holding vehicles are made irrelevant with the elimination of the IRS in the next 12 months.
it'd be great. For a while, I was really, really hopeful we were going to get some legislation eliminating capital gains on US based digital assets. I don't know if that's going to happen. And that had me pump the brakes on diversifying into an iTrust account. But now I'm thinking, yeah, it might be smart to roll over some into, if you can roll into a Roth IRA and get and guarantee yourself some tax free exposure, especially with crypto that can just, I mean, the return on investment can be just orders of magnitude, really. But
And
yeah,
can't you borrow against that?
probably, I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to your point, Sean, the reason I don't have an iTrust as of yet is because I wanted to be diversified, and I figured my direct exposure to all these digital assets was great, and that I should remain diversified with my stock portfolios as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I I bought my first house when I was 18 years old. That might have been a really dumb choice, but over the course of a few years, I profited over, there's over 40 grand there.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's a
great.
cool learning experience. I never want to be a landlord again. But, at the same time, moved out here to Colorado, out into this mountain home. And you got to understand, okay, so cool. I have all this equity in my house. That's great. You got to have that as many places as you possibly can. It's the life of a hustler. You got to have 10 streams of income just to live comfortably. And it's the same with investing. And this is by no means financial advice, but you gotta
That here.
you gotta diversify, no matter what that is. And and also another really good thing to talk about is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Do not put all of your crypto on one wallet. That is just not smart. Because if any of it's compromised, okay, well, I've got it 8 different places. Okay, that sucks. I lost an eighth of it. But at the same time, if you put all in one place and it's all gone, it's gonna be a tough time. And
Yeah. Well, to wrap up, guys, it is always fun. I love Sunday nights so much. The highlight of my week, and it's been awesome having you back, Sean. Really, really love you, brother.
yeah,
Excited
sorry.
to with the
I've been just so busy, and I'm glad to, I was here 30 minutes early just waiting. So I got everything set back up. It's just been crazy, the film side of things, and a good crazy for sure. But
I
we'll
can't
have
wait
to
to see
talk
your
about
show.
that. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. I think we'll be able to show the trailer on here. That would be cool.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess just to wrap up, we come on here, we have fun, we have good conversation. But even in this conversation today, I can feel it in our tone. I can feel the energy in the air. This is our 16th episode. Not in a single episode have, we come here with energy because we love hanging out with each other. We're all homies. We love talking blockchain. But in 16 episodes, we've never had this low energy. Like I've felt it today. Like we've talked about things. I got hyped about maybe the IRS being eliminated, even though it's probably a dream. But but you can tell where sentiment's at in the market right now. And if it's hitting us, the three of us, the way that I feel it right now, it's hitting everybody else 100 times harder, because there's probably not anyone that has more conviction than us. There's definitely people that have as much conviction as us, but there we go. Yeah, John.
Hey man, more and more people are starting to come up. I was at a casino not too long ago in Blackhawk, and some guy came over from the craps table. He left his spot, and he just like touched my shirt, grabbed it, pulled it. Like, that is the coolest shirt I've ever seen. And I'm always kind of just fishing for whatever, but more and more people are starting to understand, like, this is the future.
Yeah. Yep. This is it. So with that said, guys, been another awesome Sunday evening with you guys. Love hanging out. Love you guys. You're my brothers. You're my family. And this has been great. So with that said, I'm Wilcar Speaks. This is the Diginachi sequence, and we will see y'all next week.
See you guys later.
See you guys.